Welcome back to another episode of Local Search Tuesdays. This week I've got another awesome presentation to share with you. This time, it's my opening keynote presentation from Web à Quebec a few weeks ago. I was lucky enough to be invited to be the opening keynote of Web à Quebec, a huge conference in Quebec City about everything web related. I thought it was a bit odd that they'd have me keynote a French-speaking conference, but everyone there spoke English too, and they were all incredibly friendly. Shout out to Jean-Christophe Chouinard for the kick-ass time at the pub the night before. So let's get to it. Here are my slides. This is a tactical guide to superhero level SEO. You know who I am because you're watching this on my video series, but in case this is your first time, I do have a weekly series that you're watching right now called Local Search Tuesdays. You can see it every week on our blog or on SearchLab's social media. I am the Chief Operating Officer here at SearchLab, and I'm lucky enough to get to speak at conferences all over the world. And, you know, sometimes you see some presenters that may not be as engaging in person. The background of their slide is plain white. They have no graphics, no graphical design to the slides, and they pack each slide with black Arial font bullet points and just sit and read bullet points the whole time. And not only is that not really engaging to watch, it's a scientifically proven fact that bullet points kill kittens. So in today's presentation, we're going to keep all the kitties safe. You saw the superhero reference there at the beginning. I always love to share my love of movies with my love of digital marketing. So there's always a theme, and today's theme is superhero movies. We have 104 references to superhero movies with at least one movie for every year in the last 50 years. So let's get this going. Why the long face? Are you spending too much time looking up at competitors that rank higher in local searches? You don't have to have a huge brain to know what to do to get better visibility, even though sometimes it might seem like it's a lot of magic and voodoo. But today I'm going to help you figure out what to do. I'm going to share a lot of hot tips with you so that you'll be able to crush your competitors and kick ass in the search results. So it's important to understand that Google's got several algorithms at play, and the local algorithm weights factors differently. And it includes additional signals that you don't have to worry about when you're doing traditional SEO, which means you need to optimize differently if you want to show up better in local searches. So how do you know if you need to optimize differently or use local SEO? It's pretty easy. If you do face-to-face business with customers in a particular local area, whether that's at a brick and mortar location or as a service-based business like a plumber or an electrician, then you need local SEO. And sometimes, even if that doesn't hold true, you might still need local SEO. So do a few searches for your most important money keywords. And if you see a map pack displayed, that means that even though you might just be e-commerce only, Google says that there's local intent to that search query. So you'll need to do local SEO. So if any of that applies to you, you should be paying attention to the annual Local Search Ranking Factor Study, where they take the top 40-ish experts worldwide and send out a pretty in-depth survey about positive, negative, competitive factors for local SEO, and they aggregate all the answers to get a really good handle on what matters. And you get two pie charts. The first shows you the signals that influence your visibility in local maps, Google Maps, or the map pack, and the other one is localized organic, which is the organic search results below the map pack. This is pretty much your guide to what you need to do if you want to achieve better visibility in local searches. And these numbers just came out in March, so it's pretty fresh data. If you need help understanding how local SEO works, I like to use pizza delivery as an example, and this video walks you through it if you'd like to go watch that one. But the concept is basically, if you're sitting at your office and you search two words on Google, pizza delivery, you get a list of all the pizza spots right there by your office, but then you could try the same search at home with the same two words, and you'd get totally different search results. And that's not possible with regular SEO and Google's traditional algorithm. And that's how you know, or that's how you explain how local SEO works. And you got to realize that it's not just about optimizing to show up well. You've got to optimize the user experience, and you've got to optimize conversions on your website so that you'll convert more people into customers. Because we know that when we're talking about local businesses, people are going to shop around. They're going to look at the competition before they submit a lead or before they actually purchase. So you need to stand out from the competition and be more appealing and memorable. In other words, you got to give people a reason to come back to your website, because a lot of the time they're not going to convert the first time they find you. If you've got the same generic BS content as everybody else in town that's selling the same stuff that you're selling, why is anybody going to care or convert with you? You need to use your website content to show everyone why you're stinking awesome, and make sure that your content is actually truly about your business and about the local area. And there's an easy way to test that. Look at the homepage of your website. If you were to change just the name of your business and the city that you appear in every time they appear, could you then change it to a different city and a business that's in that city and put that content on the homepage of a website for a similar business on the other side of the country? If that content still works, it's not really about you or really about the local area. And another way to test your content is to read it out loud. Physically speak it out loud. We all tend to have marketing blinders on, and we see keywords and we think that content is great, but everything that's on your site should sound conversational. It should sound like something that you would say face to face to a potential customer that just walked in the front door. So if you read it out loud, you'll catch those things that sound odd or don't sound like something that you would actually say to a person. The most important concept that you can remember is that if you want to show up as a search result when somebody types in a particular phrase, then you need a page of content on your website that's about that singular concept. And that page needs to be the best answer in the local area to the question that the person that's searching is asking. And if you're writing the best answer in the local area, you're probably going to answer some of the subsequent questions that that searcher will ask once they get their initial answer. And then once you've written all this awesome content, you need to optimize it for the local algorithm. And when we're optimizing for the local algorithm, we're optimizing differently. So I'm going to run you through the page elements. Every time I mention keyword and city, it's the same keyword phrase and the same city. And the most important element is the title tag. It's what appears in the little tab above where you type in the URL, and it's typically what influences the text of the blue link when you show as a search result in Google. You don't want to put your business name first, especially with the way that the search layout looks now. It shows the name of the business and your little icon. So put the keyword phrase and the city in that title tag. The H1 heading is the next most important element on the page. It's the thick headline above the main body of text. Should be a little more conversational, should have the same keyword phrase and city. Obviously, you need it in the page content, but if you've written the best content that's all about your local area and all about your business and is the best answer in the local area that answers subsequent questions, you're probably not going to have to optimize much here. You should also include that keyword and city in the alt text on your images. Now, alt text is included in the embed code and describes the image. It used to be kind of a talk track around the fact that Google can't tell what's in an image, so alt text describes the image. But now Google can tell exactly what's in the image, but alt text is still part of the algorithm. It's still considered, and a lot of business owners and a lot of marketers don't optimize their alt text, so it's a great way to stand out from the competition. You also need it in the URL for the page. Now, I'm not saying you should go update URLs for pages that have already been indexed, but as you're creating new content, remember this and make sure that those phrases are in the URL. And finally, you need it in the meta description. Even though the meta description doesn't have any play in the ranking side, the meta description is what populates the text underneath your blue link. So you want to write something compelling and include those phrases. You've got to have a blog as well. A lot of people think that it's a luxury, but you need to be posting regularly to your blog. And the main reason is because there's a difference between the kind of content that goes on your blog and the kind of content that goes on the main section of your site. The main website content is bottom of funnel content. Blog content is more mid to upper funnel content. It gets eyeballs on your site sooner. But keep in mind, because it's mid to upper funnel content, you shouldn't expect to always get leads out of that blog content. In fact, if you make your blog a local destination and share useful, helpful, interesting information about the local area that doesn't really have anything to do with your business, that's pre-funnel content. You'll get found before people are looking to buy what you sell. It's almost like putting up a billboard. And it helps build local relevancy as well. If you need ideas for how to do this, I've got a video here that walks you through 10 different ideas that you can use to come up with your own localized blog content. And a lot of businesses always want to rank in nearby cities to expand their reach. But before you try to do that, you need to be sure that you own your backyard. And what I mean by that is you need to have strong enough optimization that you are dominating the search results in the town where you're actually located before you try to go expand. And then when you do have that handled, and you are going to expand. If you're in a rural or just a less competitive area, you can throw up some city pages and you'll be okay. But if there's a lot more competition or you're in a denser metro, you're going to need to be a little bit more advanced and use local content silos. And let's talk about links a little bit, because they work differently in the local algorithm as well. The local algorithm actually doesn't care about the link authority, and link authority is kind of a BS metric that was invented by Moz back in the day anyway. So you don't really have to worry about it. And we don't care if a link is a no-follow link, because it's been proven time and time again that no-follow links still move the needle in Google's local algorithm. All you really need to worry about is getting links to your site from businesses that are based in the local area. And the easiest way to do that is to just get involved in the local community and do all the old school grassroots marketing that businesses used to do. A couple of ideas. Local sponsorships are great. Google's not okay with you buying links, but it's totally okay to buy local sponsorships that results in links. So Little League, Pee Wee Hockey, Pee Wee Football, golf tournaments, 5Ks, these are all awesome opportunities to get local links. Local meetups are great too. Go to meetup.com, look for groups that are having regular monthly meetings that need meeting sponsors. You can throw in $50-$60 a month to buy their pizza and their soft drinks, as long as they give you a link, and guess what? You'll get an awesome link. Find any way you can to get local bloggers to write about you, even if the blog's not related to your vertical. And even if they write that they got a free widget to write about your widget company, it really doesn't matter. You get a really awesome, locally relevant blog post that points right to your site. And then this one is not really about what the business does in the local area. You want to talk to the leadership and even really just the general staff about what they're passionate about and what their hobbies are and what they do in their free time. Because if somebody is a member of a local club or organization, especially if they're in the leadership committee of that club or organization, it's going to be exceedingly easy to get a link back to your website. And you can use Google to do all the work for you. Throw your city name in here, come up with a bunch of concepts that you want to go after, and Google's going to spit out a list of some pretty amazing opportunities. And I'm sharing our onboarding questionnaire with you here. You can download this questionnaire, throw your own logo on it, and send it out to your new clients that you're working with, and it's going to give you a list of some awesome low-hanging fruit opportunities for things that have already happened in the past and help you prioritize efforts moving forward. And reviews are also important to Google's local algorithm, and they've actually gained weight every year for the last few years. But the thing you need to remember is customers want to read unbiased, honest reviews on third-party sites, so that testimonials page isn't really doing anything for you. In fact, go look at your Google Analytics and you'll see that nobody really checks out that testimonials page because everybody knows you're only showing the best of the best reviews. So what you need to do is be proactive. You need to have a review process that totally rocks. And watch this video, it walks you through it. But to pull a couple of important points out, you want to make it easy for people to leave a review, and you want to ask every single customer to leave a review. That's the most important thing you need to remember. And when you answer reviews, don't just answer the positives, don't just answer the negatives, don't just pick and choose, but make sure you answer every single review that comes in. But when you're responding to bad reviews, remember that response isn't for the person that left the review, it's for every future potential customer who reads your reviews and wants to see how you handle the situation. It's also important to realize that Google doesn't really give a squat how many reviews you have. There really is nothing in the algorithm that says that you're going to rank better if you have a certain number of reviews. You just need to make sure that you have more reviews than your local competitors. And when you're acquiring new reviews, you have to tread kind of a narrow, nice edge to make sure that you're getting reviews at an equal pace or just slightly faster pace than your local competitors. And some cool new information that's come to light from some recent research. You know, when you go to a Google Business Profile and you see that default sort of reviews, and it's always bad if a review shows there that's not really shining the best light on your business. So that default kind of top 10 sort is influenced by a few factors. If the review includes a photo, it's going to stay in that default sort for a longer period of time. If the review has more text in it, it's going to stay in the default top 10 for a longer period of time. And if the review has 2 or more thumbs up, it will stay in that default sort for a longer period of time. So let's put them all together. If you've got a bad review that's showing the default top 10, you can get it buried pretty quickly. Just reach out to someone who has left a recent review for you. That's a glowing review. Ask them to add more context to the review, add more of a story, and to add a photo or two. And then once they do so, have a couple of people at the office or on your agency's team go knock out a couple of thumbs up on that review, and it'll bounce up right to the top. And you do that 2 or 3 times, and you'll bury those bad reviews that are showing in the default sort. And we'll finish up talking about Google Business Profiles, because it's a really important topic, considering the fact that people don't have to go to your website to get your phone number or your address or see photos or read testimonials or read frequently asked questions. They can do all of that in your business profile. So it's basically your new homepage. And if you optimize it well, it's going to influence how you show in map pack search results. So make sure you're filling out everything that you can fill out. Make sure you're including UTM tracking on your website link so that you get proper attribution, because a lot of the time, clicks from mobile devices don't get attributed correctly in Google Analytics, and you need better data to make better decisions. You want to make sure that you're optimizing your GBP landing page. That's the page that you're linking to from your business profile for your most important keyword phrase and your city. That's typically going to be the homepage of your website, unless you're multi-location, and that would be then your individual location pages. Make sure you're listing your correct hours. Make sure you're uploading a lot of high quality, high res photos. Make sure you're selecting all of the appropriate and correct categories. There are 10 slots. It doesn't mean that you need to use all 10, but you should select everything that is applicable to your business. And you need to be strategic with the first category. That primary category carries more weight in the algorithm. So you want to be really strategic, since it has more of an influence on the search results that you're going to show up well in. And then if you're having problems, there's a lot of suspensions lately, and sometimes there's verification problems. Sometimes GBP support is not so great, and sometimes it really sucks, because there's just so many issues out there. It's really hard for them to understand every possibility. So if you're having problems and you're not getting the help that you need from support, you don't really want to continue to try to argue with support. You want to go to the Google Business Profile Community Forum. Google has a community forum for every product, and these forums are staffed by volunteers. And once a volunteer has answered things consistently and well, they get invited into the product expert program, and they'll get a little badge. So you know, if someone on the forum answers your problem and they've got that product expert designation, they know what they're talking about, and that's the right answer. And even better, once someone gets to at least gold or platinum level as a product expert, they can then escalate those issues directly to the Google Business Profile team, completely bypass support. You want to make sure you're using Google Posts. Google Posts are awesome. They're basically free ads that appear in your business profile. So you want to use them to stand out and get more click-throughs. Here's a Whiteboard Friday episode that I did for Moz about 1.5 years ago. It's 15 minutes of densely packed information about how to be successful with Google Posts. You should definitely check it out. And the secret to success is not everything that you put into the post, because no one will see the full post unless the thumbnail is compelling. So you've got to pay attention to what shows up in the thumbnail. Google's going to crop the image to a smaller image and truncate your text and just show the first few words. So the big problem here is that cropping is inconsistent and super wonky, and you can't actually control how it crops into the thumbnail. So we've created a Photoshop guide that's going to show you what's safe. So download it at that link right there, and it's going to look like this. As you're creating your image, anything inside of that white grid is going to be safe. That's what's going to show in the thumbnail. And then the rest of the image will appear once someone clicks the thumbnail to see the contents of the full post. Make sure you're not using stock images in your Google Posts. It's been proven by a lot of research that you'll get a lot more clicks if you use your own actual images. You want to pay attention to the questions and answers area as well. It allows anybody to ask you a question, and any random person can answer that question for you. And the general public thinks that it's just a chat widget or a direct messaging solution, and that someone at your business is waiting on the other end to answer those questions. Now, the way that the widget works, it's really more of a community discussion feature. So questions can receive multiple answers, but then answers can get upvoted with the little thumbs up icon. So whichever answer has the most upvotes is the answer that's displayed as the primary answer to the question. And then users will have to click a link to read the remaining answers if there are more than one answer. Another really cool feature is you're allowed to ask your own questions. So basically, it's kind of like setting up an FAQ page before someone gets to your site, because nobody's going to go to your site and read through your 40 questions to see if their question is there and maybe there's an answer, but they will come here and start to type in a new question. And the really cool thing about the way that the Q&A widget works is if a similar question has been asked and answered in the past, Google will automatically display an answer to the question as they're typing it in, which means it's a really killer pre-site experience and makes it more likely that they're going to convert. That's why it's important to load your own questions in and then monitor and make sure that your answers are always upvoted. Last little interesting bit here. We have a local SEO scoring matrix that we use at conferences and when we do demo calls with potential clients. The matrix is basically a mini local SEO audit that scores the 4 major areas that influence local search visibility, which is the content on your site and how it's optimized, the links pointed to your website, your Google business profile, and your reviews and how you respond to your reviews. It's important to point out that the matrix scores on tactics, not strategy. Now, a lot of people use these interchangeably, but strategy is which direction are you going, and tactics are which steps do you take to get there. The reason that we keep it as basic tactics is to make it more universal. If it was too much on the strategic side, then people could take it back to their current marketing partner, and that partner could say, oh, that's SearchLab's way of doing optimization. That's wrong. Our way is better. Just ignore it. But when it's basic tactics, you can't really argue the results of what's found in the little mini audit. And this was a huge game changer for us. We more than doubled the rate of closing demo calls. So twice as many people became clients because it looked like we did all of this prep work. And we actually did. Instead of doing just a canned demo that we would give to any business, we're talking about real world opportunities and things that we actually saw that we could help them fix. So those 4 areas are then weighted to approximate the importance of each area to Google's local algorithm. And then when the scores are all added together, you can get a score anywhere from 0 to 100 points. The highest score that we ever saw was an 83.6 because it's pretty damn near impossible to get a perfect score. But this was one of our own clients. So the highest non-client score that we ever saw was a 65.2. And the lowest score, you'd be surprised here, because it's not just that you get points if you do things right and don't get points if you don't. Sometimes if you do things that are incorrect enough, you'll actually lose points. And we found a car dealership in California that had a negative 58.4 as their score. It was pretty horrendous. The average score that we see is only 18 out of 100. So if you'd like to check these out, I decided to share them and make them public. So the generic version will work for any local business, but then we've also got several versions that we've kind of tweaked and customized for particular verticals that we tend to work with more often. So I shared our automotive auto dealer version with you so that you can see how we adjusted the matrix and the scoring functionality so that if you work with a particular vertical like home services or healthcare, you could then adjust the matrix so that it would work better for the client base that you are trying to work with. So download them, check them out. They're really, really cool. And they're great for pointing out really obvious opportunities so you can have those really great conversations with potential customers. And they're also a really great guide for your team for that low-hanging fruit and the easy, quick things that you can fix right off the bat when you're working with new clients. So thanks so much for sitting through that fire hose of info. Hopefully now you won't be down and depressed when you're thinking about what to do for local visibility, because you got all those hot tips today. You'll no longer be the underdog in search results, and you'll be really happy about the new awesome visibility that you've achieved. That was a tactical guide to superhero level local SEO. If you're watching this and you'd like a copy of the slides, let me know. Just pop me an email here. Or if you've just got questions, I'd love to help get you the answer. And also at the end, as always, there's a list of all the movies by order of release date. Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks for sticking around to watch the whole thing. That's definitely all the time we have left for this week's episode. So you know what that means. Put your hand on the screen right here. We totally just high-fived because you learned something awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week for another episode of Local Search Tuesdays.